Hello, welcome in another important video. I hope you all are doing great. So in this video series, we are discussing about storage in Docker. Okay. So in this video, we will discuss about bind mount. Okay. In our previous video, we discussed about writable layer of the container, where we discussed if this is our container, writable layer gets attached on top of it. Okay. So we can create new file, we can create new directory, we can even install new dependencies on this writable layer. Okay, so this is good, but the problem with this writable layer is this is not persistent data type. That means if we want to store this data permanently, we cannot do that in writable layer. If we close our container, or for some reason our container got closed automatically, this writable layer data will also get deleted. Okay, so we cannot retrieve this data once it got deleted. Okay, so that's the reason why we need permanent solution, permanent storage. Okay, so we want, even if our container is not running, we still want to preserve our data. Okay, and we also want to share same data with another container. Okay, so let's say if this is another container, this is container C1, this is container C2, and this container will also have writable layer. Okay, but the problem with this writable layer is we cannot share container 1 writable layer data with container 2 writable layer directly. It is very hard to retrieve data from writable layer because this gets append with the container in your host machine storage so tightly, so it becomes really hard to retrieve data from writable layer. Forget about sharing data, it's not possible. Okay, so we need some solid solution, and luckily we have a solution in Docker. Docker basically provides 2-3 different types of storage. We will see that one by one. So currently we are discussing about bind mount. Okay, so the way bind mount works is, again imagine this is your container, this is writable layer of the container. So this is your container, let's say this is container C1, and this is your host machine on which you have hosted your container. Okay, you have created your container, so this is your host machine. All right, so the bind mount says you create one folder inside your host machine. So let's say this is our file structure, this is the root folder. In Linux machine normally root folder exists, so let's say this is host machine created using Linux operating system. Okay, so this is root folder. What we will do is we will create our custom folder, let's say demo folder. Okay, I will simply use mkdir command and I'll create this demo folder. Okay, now bind mount says bind this folder which is in your host machine into your container. Okay, so inside the container you can bind this demo folder with the folder that exists in the container. So let's say container also has root folder. Container can have different file structure, but we are assuming, okay, container also has root folder. Inside the container, let's say I want to assign, or I want to bind this demo folder with test folder, so we can do that. Okay, so the way bind mount work is we have one folder inside our host machine and we bind, or you can say we share this folder with a test folder which is inside the container. So whenever we will create new file inside this demo folder, this test folder will also be available inside this demo folder. So basically you can say these two folders, although they have different names, you can keep same name as well, but although they have say different names, but you can say this is same storage. Okay, so whatever you will create inside this test folder will be available in the demo folder, and vice versa, if you create anything inside the demo folder will be available in this test folder. Okay, so this solves all the problems. Even if we delete this container, still this demo folder will be there in the host machine, which we can later on assign to another container. Okay, so let's assume we were trying to solve two problems. First problem was writable layer data we were not able to share directly. So Using this approach, using bind mount approach, we can directly do that. Okay, we can assign this demo folder to C1 container, and if this is container 2, we can assign this demo folder to one of the folder inside the container 2. With this way, we can even share data between two containers. Okay, and even if these two containers got deleted, our data is still there. That means we are still preserving our data. Okay, I hope you understood this entire concept is really simple. We will create one folder inside our host machine, and we will bind that folder into our container so that our data inside that particular folder will be preserved. Okay, so let's see this in action. Let me go back to our playground. Let me create new instance. Okay, our instance is ready. Now in here we'll have to create new folder. So as per this definition, we have to create one folder inside our host first. If you don't create this folder, command will throw error. Okay, but if this test folder which is inside the container 1 does not exist, command will automatically create it. So let's see this in action. So currently, let's say, let me create one folder. I'll give it a name demo. So we have created one demo folder inside our host machine. So if you want to check, I'll show you. So we have this demo folder here. Let me clear this terminal, and now what we will do is we will use docker run command, because we are trying to launch one container and we will try to bind our demo folder with that container. Okay, so command will be docker run, and I have planned to run Ubuntu container. So I'll give name to this container, let's say test1. Okay, and I want interactive terminal, that's why -it is to be there, and this is our mount. Okay, so mount option works with comma separated value. Okay, we can provide multiple values in mount and we can separate it out by comma. Okay, so first thing we need to pass is source. So in our case, source will be demo folder, which is inside my present working directory. So I'll simply write pwd and demo. Okay, so in your case, if it is another folder inside the demo, you will write that folder name here. Okay, so this is really simple. Then you have to press comma and you have to give target. Target is nothing but the folder which we want to bind with this demo folder. Okay, so this target folder will be the folder name which is inside the container. Currently container does not exist, still we can provide one name, let's say test1. Okay, and as I already mentioned, if this folder does not exist inside the container, this command will automatically create that folder. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, third parameter inside the mount parameter, we want to pass type. So our mount type will be bind. Okay, so this is bind mount, that's why type is bind. Okay, and then I think that's it. We need to give name of our image. So our image name will be Ubuntu 14.04, and I will use bash because I want to access terminal of this container. Okay, okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let's run this command. All right, so now you can see our container got created and we are now inside the container terminal. Okay, now if I simply press ls, so you will see the test folder already got created. Okay, let me change folder to test folder and I will create some files. So let's create demo.txt. Wait, command is toch. Alright, so if you see, we have created demo.txt inside our test folder, which is bind with our demo folder in our host machine. Okay, now let's create new directory. Let's say test dir. Okay, so test directory is also here. Okay, you can install new dependencies inside this folder. You can keep your source code files in this folder. You can do pretty much anything. I'm just demoing you what is possible. Okay, so we have created one folder and we have one file inside our test1 folder. Okay, so now I want to exit this terminal, which is container terminal. So I'll simply press Ctrl P and Q. Let me press it once again. Okay, now I'm outside of the container terminal. Now I'm inside the host terminal. Okay, so if I press ls, we have this demo folder here. Let me clear the terminal. Okay, now we will change our folder with the demo folder, and now if I press ls, we will see all that files which we have created inside test1 folder. So in short, our demo folder is bind with our container test folder, so that whatever the content that we will create inside either demo folder or at either test1 folder will be available in both folders. Okay, now let's see what happens if I delete that container, because our aim is to keep this data preserved even if we delete container. Okay, so first of all, let's list out all the available containers. Okay, so we have one container and I will try to delete this container. So before that, I'll have to stop this container. I'll use docker stop 77ff. Okay, now if we see, container is not running, but still we need to delete it. Docker remove 77ff. All right, so we successfully able to stop the container and we able to delete the container. And now if we see inside our demo folder, we can still see data is still there. So that means our container is not running, still we have our data. Okay, I hope you have understood this entire concept of bind mount. If you have any questions or queries, ask me in the comment. I think that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.